Right, so this is going to be another movie review. This one's called It Conquered the World, 1956. I'm giving it 5 out of 5 stars. I love this flick. By Z-Grade Gem, starring the great Peter Graves and Lee Van Cleef. It's got the usual suspects in there: Jonathan Haze, Dick Miller. You've got Marshall Bradford. So this is going to be one of those so bad that it's good type movies. You got to see the creature at the end. It's incredibly ridiculous looking and laughable. Okay, some kind of crab. It looks like the Crazy Crab mascot for the San Francisco Giants back in the 80s. And so the creature's from Venus. It captures a satellite, then the UFO crash lands on Earth. Not exactly sure what's going on with that. Then the creature starts using these mitten bat things that fly through the air to bite people's necks and to control their minds. And Lee Van Cleef thinks this creature is the savior of the world up to the very end, until the creature kills his wife. He changes his mind. Peter Graves does a great job of convincing Lee Van Cleef that this creature's evil has to be destroyed. The soliloquy at the end is just mind-boggling, inane philosophical discourse from Peter Graves himself. I watched it on the MST3K episode, season 3, episode 11. As I mentioned in my previous video, it also has the last short documentary that I had in there. And I'll post the link in the description box later so that you get both movies. Overall, I'm giving this episode, this MST3K episode, 5 out of 5 stars. I thought it was very funny. Even though they joke about Donald Trump and Ronald Reagan, it's pretty hilarious, some of the stuff that they say in this one. And yeah, I love this flick. They declare martial law. The main general, who's happens to be in this town, running the satellite, he gets bit. One of the cops gets bit. A couple of the scientists get bit. Even Peter Graves' wife gets bit. He has to shoot her. And Peter Graves, the great philosopher on epistemology here, he's waxing eloquent to Lee Van Cleef and the audience goers about man's weakness and his innate nature to overcome weakness. It's just pure gold. You've got to see the ending of the MST3K episode. they're eating dinner, like TV dinner or something, and they're just like speechless, and the food falls back in the tray. Oh man, I haven't laughed so hard in a long time. It's a great black and white feature. You got to see it. It's got the Dick Miller. Did I say it already? It's got Jonathan Haze, Dick Miller, and the great Marshall Bradford, who's also in A Summer Place, and he was in that other AIP movie I just saw, The Fast and the Furious, also. So you see the same actors pop up in every single movie. Jonathan Haze, Dick Miller, Marshall Bradford, but the surprise actors were Peter Graves, Lee Van Cleef. You also see Beverly Garland in a bunch of AIP movies. So mostly familiar names. A couple of them not so familiar. I know Peter Graves was great in Killers from Space, another great sci-fi movie. That was one of my very first VHS tapes when I was a teenager, Killers from Space. I used to buy them at Walgreens for like $1. And that one was 2 years earlier, 1954, but that one gets a 3.4 out of 10. Killers from Space. It Conquered the World gets a 5.0, which is much higher. But I still love Killers from Space. It's one of those so bad that it's good type movies that I've learned to appreciate over the years. Watching Ed Wood and really cheap-looking sci-fi movies from this era, and this is just one of them. So, anyways, that's the end of my review. Highly recommended. Check it out. I'll post the link to the movie in the description box, or the MST3K episode, I should say. And then I'll see if I can find the trailer, if there is a trailer, for this magnificent, glorious, inane movie, for sure. This movie just absolutely blew me away. How ridiculous and unintentionally funny it was, and it was a perfect movie for MST3K. The way they were picking it apart and just obliterating the whole silliness and unintentional humor in it. So, pretty cool flick. Highly recommended. Check it out. Laters.